That ain't what he said last night. Ho, I got time today.
This bitch shot me. She shot me in my arm. Shit.
A young Desi and her father Terry are bonding. Meanwhile, the woman with the balding side part rolls her eyes. Linda is constantly upset with her daughter Desi, and Terry accuses Linda of being jealous of her own child. Soon, Jay and Jen arrive at their house to party, Jen looking like the black ice spice. Eventually, everyone has arrived. While playing cards, we see Jay rub Linda under the table. Then, when everyone starts to dance, Jay and Linda get a little too close, so Terry calls them out. The two end up fighting, and they both pull out their guns in front of Desi, who happens to be smiling. Afterwards, Linda blames the whole thing on Desi, and the actress over here trying to hold in her smile. Distraught about her hairline, Linda decides to snort some powder, and Terry scolds her for doing that when they have a child. Again, Linda gets jealous that Terry's more concerned about their daughter than his wife. 7 years later, Jen runs into a teenage Desi and reminisces on the time she was over her house partying. Afterwards, a boy, Jonathan, tries to court Desi, but Linda sees this and pushes him away. Linda slaps Desi in front of her friends, claiming she's going to get pregnant. Then Terry gets upset with Linda for hitting their daughter, and she continues to get jealous again. Tired of it all, Linda goes to see Jay, and it turns out she's having an affair with the pig. The two end up doing some Tylenol together. Meanwhile, Terry tells his daughter that he loves her, but Linda is a lost cause since she had a terrible upbringing. Then Jen comes over and tells Terry that Jay is probably cheating on her. When Jen goes home, she goes to hug Jay, and she smells something fishy. Her suspicions rises. Desi's friend Callie comes over and gets Desi to talk to Jonathan. The two hit it off, and Jonathan comes over. They cross some boundaries, and she asks him to keep it a secret. A couple hours later, Linda finds some used rubber gloves in the trash, and turns out Jonathan told everyone about what him and Desi did. Jonathan tries to apologize, but then crazy mama pulls up with a gun and asks Desi about the rubber gloves. Meanwhile, Jen goes through Jay's phone and finds out that Jay and Linda have been doing the hanky-panky. Luckily, she spots Linda threatening Desi and goes over to help. Even though Jen knows about the affair, she tries to defuse the situation and hugs Desi. Linda snatches Desi away and pushes her around. Back at home, Desi begs her not to tell Terry, but Linda does, then hits her daughter. On the other hand, Terry tells his daughter that he's disappointed in her and she disrespected herself. The next morning, the couple both continue to hate each other's guts. Meanwhile, Jay got a big gut as he answers Linda's call. He pretends it's someone else.
Your bitch must be in your face.
So they decide to meet up. Once he arrives, Jay says he's disappointed they can't have a baby together, but they try to make one anyway. Because these two are so ugly, we won't show you how nasty they get. Suddenly, Jen decides to enter Linda's house and catches the two, and she's ready to throw hands. In that moment, Terry arrives as well and yells at all of them. Terry fights Jay, and Jen decides to shoot Terry dead. Desi walks in and is devastated that her father is dead. Jen is arrested and taken away. A few months later, Desi gets upset that her mom has spent the entire life insurance money already, but Linda says it's her money and it's up her nostrils now. The next day, Desi goes to wake up her mom, but she done overdosed by shooting up too much Ozempic.
It was time for it.
Desi don't give a rat's. 6 years later, and Desi has fallen on hard times, so she does things to survive. A man brings her over and he makes her snort some powdered Tylenol. After the deed, Desi only gets $200, so she snatches more when she leaves. Desi and a grown-up Callie, who looks like she glowed down, catch up. Desi admits that her life wouldn't be so difficult if her father was alive. On the other hand, Desi doesn't care about her mother. When she leaves, Jay suddenly appears with his big boobies. He tries to hit up Callie, then asks about Desi. Callie doesn't understand why Jay would even try to talk to Desi, considering he's the reason why Desi's father died. When Desi arrives, Jay asks for forgiveness. She doesn't want to hear any of it, but when he gives her cash, she's all of a sudden interested. Callie warns Desi not to take the money because it comes with strings attached. Desi doesn't care, and her dumb self gives Jay her number anyway. The next day, the two are dressed like streetwalkers. It turns out there is a contest for strippers coming up, and the two want to apply. Callie thinks this is her way to come up. At a strip club, Trina, Skylar, and Jay are waiting for the newcomers. Once Desi and Callie arrive, Desi goes to flirt with Skylar, the owner. Meanwhile, Callie signs some forms.
Put your legal name and the name you want to be called.
Callie is confused as she doesn't know what a legal name is.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Callie wants to be called Storm because of her thunder thighs. Jay calls Desi over to sign her paperwork, and Jay gives her an attitude for talking to her man Skylar.
Kelly, I don't like that bitch. She got an attitude.
One by one, the newcomers show the trio what they're capable of. When Jay announces Desi's name, her eyes roll so much that her eyelashes almost fall off. Although everyone else is impressed with Desi, Jay doesn't seem too excited. Jay tells the girls to keep their phones handy as they'll give the winners a call. Desi asks if Skylar will be doing the calling. Trina wonders why Jay is allowing Desi to disrespect her. Jay tells Trina to shut her mouth because she knows what she's doing. Afterwards, Jay expresses she doesn't like Desi at all, but Skylar tries to appease Jay, saying she has nothing to worry about. The next day, Desi goes back to the club because she forgot her shirt. Skylar wonders why she's leaving so quickly, and Desi said she doesn't want any trouble with Jay and assumes Skylar and her are dating. Skylar lies and says him and Jay are only business partners. So Skylar decides to bring her to the VIP room. While they're at it, Jay looks for Skylar and catches him in the act. She shoots her gun in the air and threatens to kill Skylar. So Desi runs out for her life. But just outside is the man she stole money from. He threatens her with a gun, but serendipitously, Fat Jay is there to rescue her. He threatens the man to get out of there. Desi hugs the Michelin Man for saving her. Since Desi feels indebted to Jay, the two end up having a transactional relationship. He becomes her pimp, and she gives him some of her earnings. When she's on the phone, Jay tells her to hang up, but she refuses. So he decides to beat her up.
I'm sorry, Jada. Please forgive me.
Desi has had enough and wants to leave. But Jay convinces her that he will protect her and give her a place to stay. Then the chubby man makes her call him Daddy. Jay then tells her to hang out at the park as there will be a client there waiting for her. While Desi and Callie are waiting at the park, Callie hollers at a man and tells him she's hungry. So the man takes both of them to eat. Callie gets his number and the girls depart.
That's the type of nigga you need.
On the other hand, Desi admits that she loves thugs and can't be with a proper man like that. When Desi gets home, Jay gets mad at her and beats her up for flaking on the client. When Jay pulls out his gun, Desi runs for her life. Since he's fat, Desi is able to outrun him and leaves the house. Months later, Callie is counting her dollar bills. They both recognize that they're survivors and have grown close. Callie calls her a sister, but admits that they need to get real jobs where they can wear nice clothes. Desi doesn't have the same goals, though. At that point, Skylar calls her and says he broke up with his girlfriend, so he's trying to meet up. When Callie and Desi are waiting for Skylar at the park, Jay and Trina are nearby as well. A random man tries to hit on Desi, but Callie says Desi got a man. Desi ignores her friend and gives Trey her number anyway. Callie tells Desi she has a good man in Skylar, so she doesn't know why Desi's being a hoe. Desi claps back and says Callie is so uptight that she needs a man to loosen it up. Trina and Jay finally spot the two girls and drive up to them. The girls argue over Skylar. When Jay pulls out her gun, Callie pulls out hers and points it at Jay.
That ain't what he said last night, ho. I got time today.
Ah, this bitch shot me. She shot me in my arm. Shit.
Jay and Trina run away and drive off. Much later, Callie is with a new man named Sean Combs. He's a very sweet man and they invite Desi to a park. Desi is really happy for Callie and Sean since they look good together. While Sean grabs something in his car, the man Desi stole money from has appeared again. He threatens Desi with a gun, and Sean goes over to defuse the situation. He even says he will pay all of Desi's debts, but the man doesn't want to hear it. Suddenly, Trey pulls up with a gun and threatens the guy to get out of there. Since Trey has saved the day, Desi and Callie start to clown on Sean for not doing anything.
You weak. You weak.
Weak. First of all, the nigga had a gun.
Because of this, Callie doesn't want anything to do with Sean.
What about your gift?
Much later, Desi and Trey are booed up. Callie comes over and announces she got a job at the bank. Callie says Desi can get a job at the same bank if she wants. But Trey interrupts and says he can take care of all the bills. Desi doesn't like being told what to do. So once Callie leaves, Desi talks back some more, and Trey beats her up.
Trey, stop! Stop! Trey!
Desi is wounded and Trey apologizes profusely. One night, Desi walks in on Trey and some random woman making pretzels. She cries uncontrollably, wondering how her life is this bad. The next night, Trey gives her flowers and she accepts his apology. Because Callie is a real friend, she calls Desi. Callie is shocked that Desi is still with Trey.
You still with that nigga?
Unbeknownst to Callie, she's on speaker and Trey gets upset and beats Desi up. Callie has heard everything and is on her way. Desi manages to get the upper hand and threatens Trey with a gun. Without thinking, she shoots him in his belly.
Oh, God, what have I done? Oh, my God.
Unfortunately, Desi is cuffed and arrested for Trey's murder, even though the girl had clear bruises and it was self-defense. 3 months later, Desi is finally released from prison. She goes to hug Callie, and Desi asks if the job is still available.
By the way, is that job still available? You know it is, girl.
Lord help me, this was a hot mess of a movie. The audio mixing was so bad that it was difficult to hear most of the conversations because the background music was always so loud. Y'all wrong for recommending me this one. What did y'all think?
Did you guys enjoy that one? Make sure to subscribe and keep watching for more. I won't judge. You can click here or here.